Is your brain always busy? Try this. The screen slowly fades in from black to a calm, quiet morning. The sun is gently rising, casting golden light through half-open blinds. A slow pan reveals a cluttered room, a desk piled with papers, a blinking laptop, a buzzing phone, and a half-drunk cup of coffee. Soft, reflective music plays in the background. The camera zooms in on a young woman sitting at the edge of her bed, wide awake, staring blankly at the wall. It's only 6 a.m., but her mind is already racing. Her inner voice echoes in the background, overlapping thoughts, tumbling like a waterfall. Did I reply to that email? What if I forgot something important? I should have said something different yesterday. I still need to plan dinner, pay bills, fix that thing at work. Her breathing quickens and her shoulders tense, even though the day hasn't even begun. The narrator's voice cuts in gently, warm and soothing. Does this feel familiar? Like your brain is always switched on, worrying, planning, analyzing, remembering, overthinking, even when the world around you is still? As the camera slowly zooms out, we see her sitting motionless while the world around her begins to speed up. Cars outside move faster, the clock ticks louder, and her phone vibrates endlessly. You're not alone, the narrator continues. Millions of people feel this invisible weight. But what if there was a simple way to slow it down, to quiet the noise, to find peace, not tomorrow, but today? The scene fades to black, and the title appears in calming white letters over a soft blue sky. Is your brain always busy? Try this. A gentle breath sound plays as we transition into the journey of healing and calm. Chapter 1. Why is your brain always so busy? Have you ever wondered why your mind never seems to take a break, even when your body does? Why you feel mentally exhausted before the day even begins? The truth is, your brain isn't broken. It's simply doing what it was designed to do. Think, protect, plan, and make sense of the world. But in today's fast-paced, always connected lifestyle, your brain is bombarded with an endless stream of information, notifications, emails, decisions, comparisons, worries, and expectations. It's like trying to sip water from a fire hose. Instead of moments of stillness, your brain is constantly scanning for what's next, what went wrong, what could go wrong, and how to fix it all. This mental busyness often comes from fear. Fear of missing out, of failing, of disappointing others, or not being good enough. Many people grow up believing that being productive equals being valuable, so the brain never allows itself to rest. Over time, this mental overload becomes the new normal. You're not just living your life, you're overthinking every part of it. Even when you sit down to relax, your mind keeps running through to-do lists, past mistakes, and future worries. And because the brain doesn't come with an off switch, we start to feel trapped in our own heads. But awareness is the first step. When you understand that your busy mind is reacting to stress, not reality, you begin to see that it's not you. It's just a habit. And like any habit, it can be changed. In this chapter, we explore how the Modern world overstimulates your thoughts, how past experiences condition your mental patterns, and how your inner critic keeps the noise alive. But most importantly, we begin to ask, what would it feel like to live from a place of peace instead of pressure? That question is where real transformation begins. Chapter 2. The Problem with Overthinking. Overthinking may seem harmless, just thoughts, right? But beneath the surface, it quietly steals your peace, your time, and your ability to enjoy the present moment. It's like being stuck on a mental treadmill. Your body is still, but your mind is running in circles, going nowhere. You replay conversations from days ago, analyze what you could have said better, and rehearse every possible outcome for things that haven't even happened yet. You second-guess your choices, doubt your abilities, and worry about things far beyond your control. While thinking helps us solve problems, overthinking traps us in fear, confusion, and self-doubt. It creates problems that don't exist, keeps you stuck in the what-ifs, and turns small decisions into heavy burdens. And here's the tricky part. The more you overthink, the more anxious you feel. And the more anxious you feel, the more you overthink. It becomes a painful cycle that clouds your judgment, drains your energy, and pulls you away from real life. You miss out on laughter, connection, and calm because you're too busy living in your head. Relationships suffer, creativity fades, and confidence weakens. Instead of feeling alive, you feel paralyzed by thoughts that won't stop. Overthinking doesn't make you smarter. It only makes you more tired and more unsure. In this chapter, we dive deep into how overthinking disguises itself as being careful or prepared, but in reality, it leads to indecision, stress, and mental burnout. Most importantly, we begin to explore how awareness, self-compassion, and simple mental shifts can start to loosen its grip. Because you deserve clarity, not chaos. And learning to break free from the prison of overthinking is the beginning of a more peaceful, focused life. Chapter 3. One simple practice to quiet the mind. In a world that constantly demands your attention, finding peace might seem impossible. But what if the answer isn't about doing more, but doing less? One of the most powerful and gentle ways to quiet the mind is through a practice so simple, most people overlook it: deep, conscious breathing. That's it. Just breathing, but with awareness and intention. Your breath is the one thing that's always with you, yet it's often ignored. When your mind is racing, your breathing becomes shallow and tight, which signals to your brain that something is wrong, keeping you in a constant state of alert. But when you slow down your breath, in through the nose for 4 counts, hold for 4, and out through the mouth for 6, you signal safety to your nervous system. Your heart rate slows, your muscles soften, and your thoughts begin to settle like dust in a quiet room. This simple act gently pulls your awareness out of the storm in your head and into the present moment. You can't control every thought, but you can control your breath. And that alone is enough to shift your entire state of being. Practicing just 5 minutes of deep breathing a day can reduce anxiety, improve sleep, sharpen focus, and increase your ability to respond calmly to stress. In this chapter, we guide you through the science behind mindful breathing, why it works, and how it reconnects you to your body and the now. You don't need expensive tools, years of training, or total silence. Just a few quiet minutes and your breath. And the best part? The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Breathing isn't just a way to survive. It's the key to slowing down your mind, finding stillness, and coming home to yourself. Chapter 4. The Power of Naming Your Thoughts. One of the most overlooked yet incredibly powerful tools for calming a busy mind is the simple act of naming your thoughts. When your brain is flooded with racing ideas, fears, and endless what-ifs, everything starts to feel like one overwhelming storm. But when you pause and say to yourself, "That's a worry," or "That's fear," or "That's self-judgment," something amazing happens. You create space between you and your thoughts. You stop becoming the thought and start observing it. This small shift helps you move from being lost in the chaos of your mind to being the calm witness of it. It's like stepping out of a noisy crowd and standing quietly on the sidewalk. The noise is still there, but you're no longer tangled in it. Naming your thoughts doesn't mean you're pushing them away or fighting them. In fact, you're acknowledging them with kindness and curiosity, like gently saying hello to a visitor rather than slamming the door. Neuroscience shows that simply labeling emotions or thoughts can reduce activity in the brain's fear center and increase emotional regulation. By saying, "This is just a thought," you remind yourself that not everything your mind says is true, urgent, or important. Thoughts are like clouds. They come and go, and they don't define the sky. In this chapter, we explore how naming your thoughts helps reduce anxiety, stop mental spirals, and restore your inner sense of control. We'll walk through practical ways to try it, even during stressful moments, and how this habit can bring a sense of calm clarity, like flipping on a light in a dark, noisy room. When you learn to name your thoughts, you begin to realize your mind is busy, yes, but you are not your mind. And that truth can set you free. Chapter 5. Return to the present moment. When your brain is always busy, it's usually caught in one of two places: the past, rehashing what went wrong, what you said, what you should have done, or the future, worrying about what might happen, what could go wrong, and whether you'll be enough to handle it. But in all this mental time traveling, one thing gets left behind: the present moment. The truth is, the only place real peace exists is here and now. Not in yesterday's regrets, not in tomorrow's worries, but in the breath you're taking, the sounds around you, the feeling of your feet on the ground. Returning to the present doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything's fine. It means grounding yourself in reality, what is actually happening right now, not what your mind is imagining. Often, the present moment is much more peaceful than the version your brain is spinning. When you bring your attention back to the now, even for a few seconds, your nervous system calms, your perspective widens, and your thoughts lose their grip. You realize that right now, in this single moment, you are safe. You can breathe. You can just be. In this chapter, we explore powerful yet simple techniques like mindfulness, sensory awareness, and grounding. Exercises that pull you out of your head and into your life. You'll learn how to notice when your mind wanders and how to gently guide it back without judgment, like leading a child by the hand. We also discuss how practicing presence doesn't require silence or stillness. It can happen while walking, eating, or even washing dishes. Over time, these small moments of presence add up, quieting the mental noise and reconnecting you to life's richness, one breath, one step, one moment at a time. Chapter 6. Create daily moments of silence. In a world filled with constant noise, notifications, conversations, news, music, and a never-ending stream of mental chatter, silence has become a rare and undervalued gift. But silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the presence of space, clarity, and calm. When your brain is always busy, it's often because it never gets a true break, not just from doing, but from thinking. That's why intentionally creating daily moments of silence is one of the most powerful ways to reset your nervous system and soothe your overactive mind. Even just 5 minutes of stillness each day can create a ripple effect throughout your entire life. Silence gives your mind a chance to settle, like muddy water becoming clear when left undisturbed. In those quiet moments, answers rise to the surface, emotions become more manageable, and stress begins to melt away. You might sit in silence with your eyes closed, take a slow walk without your phone, or simply pause before reacting to something. The goal isn't to force your mind to be empty. It's to be present with whatever is there, without rushing, judging, or fixing. In this chapter, we explore how silence heals the brain, reduces cortisol, strengthens focus, and enhances emotional clarity. We also guide you through practical ways to carve out silence, even in the busiest days, like waking up 10 minutes earlier, turning off the radio during your drive, or spending a few minutes outside just listening to the wind. These quiet pauses may feel small, but they carry deep power. Over time, they become sacred windows where your mind finds rest, your heart finds balance, and your spirit reconnects with peace. In the silence, you begin to hear something deeper, your own wisdom, your breath, your truth. And that quiet voice inside, it's been waiting for you all along. Chapter 7. Gentle Practices That Help. When your brain feels like it's always spinning, overthinking, worrying, planning, remembering, it can be tempting to look for big, dramatic solutions. But what truly helps over time are the small, gentle practices that you can return to again and again, like steady anchors in the middle of a storm. These aren't complicated routines or strict disciplines. They're simple, kind actions you can take each day to give your busy mind a place to rest. Things like sipping a warm cup of tea in silence, journaling your thoughts without judgment, taking a short walk while noticing the colors around you, or stretching your body slowly while breathing deeply. Even placing your hand on your chest and whispering, "It's okay, I'm here," can create a soft pause in the rush of thoughts. These practices work not because they stop the mind completely, but because they invite slowness, presence, and care, which your brain desperately needs. In this chapter, we explore how these gentle habits help retrain the nervous system, quiet mental noise, and build emotional resilience over time. You'll learn that healing doesn't have to be loud or fast. It can be soft, repetitive, and slow. The goal isn't perfection, it's permission. Permission to breathe, to pause, to care for yourself, in small ways throughout the day. Gentle practices remind your mind that it's safe to slow down, that you don't have to carry everything all the time, and that peace doesn't always come in big moments, but in small intentional choices that build a calmer life from the inside out. Chapter 8. It's okay to slow down. In a world that constantly praises speed, productivity, and doing more, it can feel almost wrong to slow down. But here's a truth your busy mind needs to hear. It's okay to slow down. It's not lazy, weak, or selfish. It's wise, healing, and necessary. Your brain was never meant to be on 24/7, chasing deadlines, solving problems, and managing endless expectations without pause. Yet somewhere along the way, many of us began measuring our worth by how much we do, how fast we move, and how little we rest. And so we push ourselves, rushing from task to task, drowning in thoughts and ignoring the signals our body sends: exhaustion, anxiety, mental fog, burnout. Slowing down is the opposite of quitting. It's choosing presence over pressure. It's saying, I matter, even when I'm not producing. In this chapter, we explore how giving yourself permission to slow down creates room for clarity, emotional balance, and deeper joy. You'll learn how to recognize the false urgency your mind creates and how to respond with calm intention instead of fear. We'll also look at the science behind rest and why moments of slowness actually make you more focused, creative, and resilient. From mindful breaks and slower mornings to saying no without guilt, you'll discover that slowing down doesn't take you off track. It brings you home. It reconnects you to what matters most: your well-being, your peace of mind, and the quiet wisdom inside you that's been whispering all along. You're allowed to breathe. You're allowed to rest. You're enough, even when you slow down. Final chapter. You are not your thoughts. As we come to the end of this journey, perhaps the most freeing truth to carry with you is this: you are not your thoughts. This might sound simple, but it holds deep power. So many of us live each day tangled in our minds, believing every thought that passes through. We hear a voice in our head say, "You're not good enough," or "Something bad is going to happen," and we assume it must be true. But your thoughts are not facts. They are mental events, shaped by past experiences, fears, memories, and patterns that have repeated themselves over time. Some are helpful, but many are not. Thoughts come and go like clouds across the sky, and they don't define who you are. You are the observer, the awareness behind the thoughts. When you begin to see this clearly, you create space between yourself and the noise in your head. You no longer react to every anxious idea or self-critical message. You watch them rise and fall, knowing that they're just passing weather, not the whole forecast. In this final chapter, we explore how to deepen this understanding through mindfulness, compassion, and daily reflection. We talk about how to gently challenge unhelpful thoughts, how to step back and say, "That's just a thought, not reality," and how to build a stronger connection with your inner calm. You'll also learn how to trust your deeper self, the steady, quiet presence within you that remains untouched, no matter how loud your mind gets. This chapter isn't about never thinking again. It's about learning to relate to your thoughts in a new way, with less fear and more freedom. When you finally realize that you are not your thoughts, you unlock the door to peace. You begin to live with more ease, more clarity, and more self-kindness. And most of all, you remember, your mind may be busy, but your soul is always still. That stillness is your true home.